Welcome to virtual Japan as we are here today for round number 6.
Oh, Pearson gets into the 95 of Folks. Here comes the caution.
Flag is dropped here at Daytona and away go for the first time. Nicholas Morcel, Sean.
Looks like most get through unscathed. Look at that, there's Reed Gibson. A big move at the inside line of Dom's, possibly a little bit of contact.
Now as we've got three wide action going through turns 1 and 2.
And they're underway. Eric Hahn takes a nice jump. Wilson hasn't let him go very far.
Go out here for Circuit Spa Francorchamps. Alex Johnson's off to a brilliant start there.
See just how oddly shaped this one is. We saw in the background Eric Hahn go for a bit of a swing, and he's gone and he's over.
New stuff. Cody Graham's the one-on-one up into second place. Alex Johnson 6/10 lead at the moment.
They're dicey up front. There's Andrew Kessel, Justin Sang.
They are ready to go. The lights are out and away we go for the very first time here at Okayama International Circuit. Finley Fitzsimmons.
Do you want to improve at a quicker pace? Check out getgoodracing.com. I've coached hundreds of drivers, from real-life racers to sim enthusiasts, who experience rapid improvement after just one session. And while investing in top-notch hardware is great, imagine how much more you can elevate your experience by adding coaching to the mix. My methods are practical, aiming to break down complex concepts into easily digestible bits that are simple to understand. You can find reviews of the sessions I've conducted on the Fiverr link provided in the video description. Let's elevate your racing skills together.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the League Zero Racing Series, the Inca Salsa Super Formula Season 10. The premier Formula iRacing League. Today we're at Monza, getting ready to send these competitors out on track. As always, I'm your host, James Eastwood, Team Goon Squad Broadcasting. Bring the action, 1080p, 60 frames a second. And I'm accompanied by MSR's own Norman King. Join us up here in the booth. Norman, say hello to the fans out there.
I hope everyone's having a good evening tonight. We're ready for some great racing action.
Now, Norman, this is the first season we're going to have you as a co-announcer. Normally, you're out on track. What are you expecting for this feature event?
Expecting a tight battle at the front through practice and qualifying. I think that Ray and Elliott and Finley have all been battling tightly.
Looks like our driver's starting to get gridded up here for the feature event. Excuse me, the opening sprint race, I should say. I'm running through the grid. It's Elliott Cotti starting on pole to number 23. He's got Finley Fitzsimmons, his teammate, starting alongside in the second place spot. Kyle Deckard starting third. Ray Aguilar starting fourth. Jack Mundy starting fifth. Nick Trollman starting sixth. Greg Brick starts seventh. Zachary Bowman starting eighth. Michael Fairchild starting ninth. Antonio Bianchi starting 10th. Nick Peterson starts 11th. We've got Eric Fox, a.k.a. Urko, starting 12th. Cycling on back, Shazi Zuhair starting 13th. Julian Flores starting 14th. Jace Meyer starts 15th. David Iezzi starting 16th. Xavier Zanabe, the Flying Frenchman, starts 17th. Evan Alexander starting 18th. Gareth McAllister, the world-famous Aussie, starting 19th. Matt Foster starting 20th. Matthew Balsell starting 21st. Arturo Mayorga starts 22nd. Felipe Ramos starting 23rd. Brian Dawson starts 24th. And let's cycle back one final time. Peter Rettinger, the 44 machine, will round out our 25-car grid here today. Let us know to the fans out there where you're from, who you're cheering on. Drivers will frequently have the broadcast pulled up on a separate monitor device, and if they don't, they just about always go back and watch this thing over. We've got some guys from J2ICS joining us. Captain CK, Nick Beaver are in the spectator. Not on track, though, which is the same machine. That's a couple of likable guys, and it looks like we're getting ready to fire things off here tonight, Norman.
Yes, we are. We got 5 red lights on the board.
The lights are off, and we are green flag racing at Monza. Aguilar got a terrific launch there. And we are going to pile up some race cars. And it's going to be a violent one. Surely the caution will come out here as everybody has bent it. I'm trying to see. Yep, there's the caution. So a wise move there with a yellow flag coming out. I see David Iezzi, Kyle Deckard, Evan Alexander, Nick Peterson all taking toes down pit road. So we're going to get a replay queued up. And I think, Norman, this is going to be a really violent one we're about to watch.
Oh, yeah, I was watching it from the back of the field, and it got ugly quick.
I'm trying to see. Somebody got launched to orbit there. It's going to be a red car on the left side of the screen. There's Nick Peterson. Got a little bit squirrely, and Peterson is going to come. No, that's Kyle Decker, excuse me. Back out on track, and there was somebody that just got launched to absolute orbit. I think that maybe, no, it wasn't Rettinger. I think that was Nick Peterson. But let's watch this again, focusing in on Peterson, the number 24. Either Peterson or the 29.
I don't know who got launched into orbit, but Decker looks like he spun his tires, got off in the grass, and ended up not being able to hold control of his car, and coming back across track caused everything.
Trying to see unfortunately, all the bodywork is ripped off that machine. I think it's going to be Evan Alexander here. Let's watch the bright red and white kind of on the bottom of the screen for the fans at home. Yes, that is Evan Alexander going for an absolute wild ride. I've lost count of the flips and the pirouettes, and he's going to park on top of David Iezzi, the number 29 machine. So our first caution of the night, a full course caution. We got a report that there was some more drivers tied up in an incident as well. Jazzy Zuhair has problems. Gareth
McAllister launched for like 300 feet in the air too.
Well, let's get another replay queued up. We have the power.
I can't see who he launched over. Or it might not be. No, that was Evan Alexander. My bad.
Oh, that was Alexander going over McAllister.
Yes.
Oh, I have something for the fans at home here. Get ready, everybody. So watch this super slow motion, sponsored by Get Good Racing Coaching. You're on board the world famous Aussie Gareth McAllister. You can see the problems ahead. There's really nowhere to go for McAllister. He's hard on the binders here and just gets absolutely launched over. And the McAllister actually gets pushed up on another driver as well. That's probably going to be my favorite crash replay I think we're going to get all season. I'm calling it now.
Yeah, that. Like I said, it all looked like it started up front with a spinning of the tires off the start and getting loose, and then blocking the track because they used a slow car from Kyle Decker.
And I'm going to take a deep breath and go through the list of drivers involved who have retired from this sprint. Julian Flores, Kyle Decker, Nick Peterson, Eric Fox, Shazi Zuhair, David Iezzi, Evan Alexander, Gareth McAllister will all be retired from the sprint race. Now, there's a rule here at League Zero. If you take a tow during a race, you are done and out for that one. So drivers are going to be on the outside looking in and getting ready for the feature event. And we're going to whittle it down very quickly to 17 drivers out on track for the sprint. But I'm assuming a few of those 17 are going to still have a fairly good amount of damage here before we get things kicked back off.
Yeah, it looks like, I don't know how many people from the back got through it, but it looked like at least only the top 6, maybe top 7 were able to cleanly miss all that.
Yeah, without having to check up or slam the brakes. I mean, we have a few guys, Matt Foster, Matthew Balcells, Felipe Ramos, Brian Dawson, have had a little bit of a luck with that one. All 4 drivers mentioned, they're up 10 positions so far off the start, so they've got to be happy to keep their nose clean on that one because that took out a lot of contenders, and that's going to make already a very short and action-packed sprint even more exciting as we're going to do another lap of I-pacing here, and it's going to be even shorter. Craig Brick's going to come down pit road, the number 7 machine. I think Brick might be missing the front wing. I think it's still there. Maybe not. I think Brick might be missing some body work.
And Myers is coming down pit road too.
So another driver missing the front wing. So they're going to hope those crews can get those Super Formula machines patched back together in the sprint. There is no expected pit stops save for damage for these drivers. So hopefully it looks like Craig Brick's going to roll out on track. Jace Meyer is going to return as well. So they're going to be able to rejoin the race here. Now, Norman, we were expecting a little bit of carnage here at Monza tonight. Fairly common at this circuit, but were you expecting to see that even before turn 1 was really a factor?
No, here normally I would expect to see it turn 1, maybe 3, but after that, normally the field kind of can fill themselves out and separate out, and you can run a normal race from that point on. But if it happens in turn 1, it normally takes a lot of people. I did not expect it off the start, definitely coming from the front of the field. You normally have the guys up front pretty good at getting off the line and not spinning their tires.
Yeah, very uncharacteristic here tonight at the circuit. Elliott Cotti is going to be starting up front once more. He'll be accompanied by Ray Aguilar. Aguilar got a fantastic launch off the line, quickly gained two positions before that caution came out, putting Fitzsimmons back into third. So not a ton has changed in the top 5. As hard chargers out on track, Felipe Ramos, Brian Dawson now up 12 spots, as we should be firing back up the race next time by as we follow that iRacing safety Porsche here.
Yeah, in front of them you've got the 2 Mats that have jumped up 11 spots.
So already a sprint race of attrition. Now, fun fact for the fans at home, Xavier Zanave currently holds the fastest lap of the race, underpacing with a 256.41.
I don't think that's going to hold up.
I think that's fair. Nick Trollman getting some love in another group chat from a bunch of his race supporters. Good to see that number 5 machine back out on track here for the League Zero Inca Salsa Super Formula Series. Trollman up 2 spots early on, sitting in 4th. And, I mean, it's going to be less than 10 laps left to go in this sprint. I mean, what are we going to see from these drivers off a restart? And are we going to see another caution, do you think?
I think with it being a single file restart, I think it's going to be pretty clean. Definitely going into turn 1 because you're going to have Elliott controlling the field off the start. And it's really hard to predict that from back of the field of when they're going to start. And if I remember right, you can't pass till the start-finish line.
Now, I think, yeah, we're going to keep it single file here as the safety car comes down pit road. What on earth is going on? That was a terrible start.
Yeah, we had some guys from the back of the field. Fairchild, and I think that was that Antonio who tried to jump the start?
We'll get a... Yeah, I think it was. Antonio Bianchi and Xavier Zanave, I believe, were both flying forward, and we're going to have more problems, and I think we might have... Surely we're going to have another safety car. It doesn't look like we're going to.
We got Fairchild towing.
So it looked like Jack Mundy was one of the first drivers involved in that, number 14. I think maybe a little bit of netcode helped him around, and Mundy just parked right in the racing line, nowhere to go. Mundy, Fairchild, Bowman, Balcells, Ramos, Mayorga, all involved in that incident somehow, some way, and that's going to be good for the 2 British drivers, Elliott Cotti, Finley Fitzsimmons up front. They've got Ray Aguilar trailing in 3rd, but Aguilar's not going to get any teammate support on this one. His teammate Callaway not able to make it out here tonight, so Aguilar rolling solo behind the 2 drivers up front. And it looks like Brian Dawson involved in another incident. Jack Mundy with another off-track, number 14. I think Mundy's just going to try and limp it around at this point and try and salvage some points. Oh, it looked like Fitzsimmons goes wide.
Yeah, I'm going back and looking at that incident. It looks like Trollman was under Jack, and Jack tried to turn in, and there was a car there and spun himself off of Nick.
Here we go, the battle for second. Aguilar and Fitzsimmons, 2 longtime rivals side by side, narrowly avoiding contact. Aguilar is going to shoehorn his way up into second. That's going to give Cotti about a 9/10 advantage here as Aguilar holds on to second with Fitzsimmons right in tow. They've got Nick Trollman still running 4th, about 2.7 seconds back from the rest of the field here. And man, Fitzsimmons and Aguilar are still going at it side by side. Fitzsimmons showing ahead by about 0.2 of a second. Both Fitzsimmons and Aguilar triggering the off-track sensors here in the broadcast booth. Now, Elliott has to be pretty pleased with this. He's got his teammate running in second, able to keep Aguilar busy so Aguilar can't get any pace really built up here. And that is going to allow Elliott to continue his charge up front. 1.5 seconds up over Fitzsimmons and Aguilar, staying linked up nose to tail. And we get a report Monday was able to limp it down pit road. But unfortunately, Norman, I think his sprint race is going to be just about done here.
Yeah, as you got Ray looking to the inside, and he makes the pass going into Parabolica.
Now we go a little bit further back. We have more side-by-side action. Craig Brick, Zachary Bowman having a battle for 6. Both drivers up 1 spot so far, and we're going to immediately pan back to second as Fitzsimmons and Aguilar are putting on a show here for the fans at Monza. Fitzsimmons back up into second. Aguilar takes a peek and a look to the inside line, backs out of it, but it looks like Fitzsimmons might have overdrove the corner, but thankfully able to stall the charge there of Aguilar, and Fitzsimmons is going to hold on to second for a little while longer as his teammate continues the charge up front. On board with Ray Aguilar. He's sporting the number 1 as our defending champ. And as that happens, we have another big crash report. Looks like it's going to be Foster and Meyer tied up with something. I also saw Bianchi involved in this, and not sure if it's going to be related. Oh, I think the 32 of Foster just wasn't able to dive in there. And Bianchi was involved in a separate incident. And I think that's Matthew Balcells, the number 52. Yes, it is in the background. Bianchi wisely pulls off track to avoid any more incidents out on the circuit. And oh man, what an action-packed evening here. We thought the field was going to get spread out, but I didn't expect this much action as we are already halfway through this sprint. Looks like Aguilar's going to take another peek up the inside line, taking back over second place from Fitzsimmons. Elliott Cotti running out front, Aguilar second, Fitzsimmons third, Trollman and Brick round out the top 5. Now my co-announcer, Norman King, unfortunately facing some power issues as we've had some pretty substantial storms blowing through here in our neck of the woods, as we'd call it. So hopefully he'll get back up here shortly. Eric Fox joining us from the spectator area, unfortunately having to retire before turn 1, lap 1, as we saw so many drivers have big issues here. Now Fitzsimmons triggering the off-track software a fair bit. As be mindful of the off-tracks as I go back. We've got Felipe Ramos, Peter Rettinger battling for 7th. Rettinger up 17 positions. He had to serve a qualifying ban here tonight, starting the night off, but still able to overcome and roll very well in that 44 machine. And looks like he's tracking down Ramos here in the battle for 7th. Ramos able to hold on to it for a little while longer in the number 73 machine as things are getting a little bit spread out up front. Elliott has built up a 2-second gap over Aguilar. And Conti just set the fastest lap of the race, a 129.370. So the young Brit absolutely ripping the number 23. And this is uncharacteristic. It looks like Ramos and Rettinger working together here a little bit, starting to catch up to Zachary Bowman, who sits in 6th. Ramos doing a good job covering the inside line here. As we've got a big off-track. No, Finley Fitzsimmons has binned it. The number 16 machine has obliterated the car. Let us see what happened. A little bit of curbing there. The car a little unsettled. Just hooks and absolutely smashed there for Fitzsimmons. And that is going to put Nick Trollman, medium fast Trollman, up into that final podium spot. What a night here tonight. Fitzsimmons takes the tow back to pit road. He's going to officially retire from the sprint. Hopefully we'll see him back out for the feature. Gotta agree with Captain CK and the Spectator that the car suffered a rapid, unplanned disassembly. Carl Hartwell letting us know that he's liking the co-commentary tonight. We're still waiting for King to fully get back in the booth here and end the session. He'll start yelling at me as soon as he's back up here, but it is always cool for me to have somebody else calling the action as well. Very appreciated as we watch Mayorga and Bianchi battle for the 8th place spot. Bianchi's going to hold on. There we go.
Sorry about that. I have storms in the area and it flickered my power. My UPS system did not work properly.
I live a few hours to the east of you, and I can confirm we've been getting hit all day with these storms here. So while you were gone, Norman, Nick Trollman has moved up into the 3rd place spot after Fitzsimmons rapidly disassembled the number 16 machine. So that's going to change the top 5 a little bit. You still have Cotti and Aguilar running 1st and 2nd, but now Trollman rounds out the final podium spot. Craig Brick and Zachary Bowman have moved up into the top 5.
Yeah, right before I lost power, I was about to talk about how Ray passed Fitzsimmons right before Parabolica. And I was going to tell him, I think next time around, from a driver standpoint, he needed to wait a little bit longer, get through Parabolica, and get the run down the front straightaway and pass him into 1 to help defend.
Looks like we have a battle for 6. Renger, who continues to charge forward, has contact with Ramos. Looks like the car may be okay here for the 44, but he was up just about 19 positions. So Renger having a little bit of bad luck. Already started tonight off with a qualifying ban, and then with that incident just there with Renger. Let's see if we can get a replay queued up of that one.
I think that's just a racing incident. I'm watching it over, and I think Renger just turned in a little bit too much because Ramos is right there on the curbing. There's no room for him to go anywhere.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I'd call that as a good old-fashioned racing incident. Really didn't shake up Ramos too bad at all. Still holding that 6th place spot. He had Antonio Bianchi closing the door behind the number 17 machine. I can also see Arturo Mayorga. He's having a great run at 55. He's up 14 spots. And this is a very important race with just about 3 laps left to go, as the sprint will set the starting order for the feature event. So you're going to have some drivers such as Renger, such as Fitzsimmons and Mundy, who are going to have a bit of an uphill battle in the feature with a lot more drivers to have to try and get around than they would if they had a good result here in the sprint at Monza.
Yeah, it looks like Antonio got around Ramos here to move him up into the 6th position, which is where he started, in this series, I think how close the battle is. If you can start where you or finish where you started, I feel like you've had a good race.
Now, I will correct you a little bit there. I'm wondering after your power blink if it reset some of your life timing, because I still show Bianchi qualified in the 10th place spot here. So I show him up 4 positions. So I have a sneaking suspicion after the power flickered, it might have reset your timing.
All right, well, I appreciate you telling me that. Then I'll ignore that screen.
Hey, that's what we're here for up here in the booth. We make dreams happen. Checking back in on Elliott Cotti, your race leader, 2.4 seconds up over Aguilar. Aguilar just set his fastest lap of the race last time by, a 129.32, so he's still on pace. But, I mean, he's 0.3 off the pace of Elliott here. So I wonder if Aguilar, realizing he's got clean air every which way he looks, has maybe backed off the pace a little bit and said, you know what, let's just take it easy and score some points here. Brian Dawson, I think, is going to have a solo incident there in the number 89 machine into turn 1. But Dawson, out of attrition, still up 11 spots here.
Yeah, going back to what you're talking about with Ray, you're down 3 seconds with, 2 laps to go? 2 laps to go. There's no reason to push it and risk something worse happening. Just take your points, be happy, and move on to the next race.
Now, I wonder if Aguilar had something pulled up where he hurt us, because he just set the fastest lap of the race, a 128.6, a full 0.4 of a second faster than anybody else out on track has. So you and I are in agreement. We would have thought Aguilar would have backed it down a little bit and just kind of lived to fight another day. I almost wonder if Aguilar is using this extra time as extra practice at this point and try and prepare himself a little bit better for the feature to keep Elliott within striking distance.
That could be. From my perspective, I know me, when I kind of relax and don't push too hard, I actually drive faster. The old adage is that they say slow is fast.
Fast is smooth.
Yes. And it might have just been that he just fell into a groove and just hit his marks and knocked down a hell of a lap. But, you know, he's showing Elliott coming into the sprint race that I can run with you, and you better be prepared for the next race.
Looks like Elliott's going to be on the push to pass here as well, as the white flag is waved. I am fairly confident Aguilar has used up all the push to pass. So if Elliott is going to answer with the fastest lap of the race, I think it's going to be this time by. I'm not seeing any traffic ahead of the race leader, so he should be having open air all the way around here for the final lap of the sprint. And we've seen some pretty wild things, and still have a battle for fifth. Antonio Bianchi making his way around Zachary Bowman, and he's going to move up into the top 5, that number 17 machine. So definitely some really hard charges out here. Felipe Ramos, the 73, the Brazilian driver, up 16 spots from where he started this evening, and he's been having a fantastic race, able to keep his nose clean.
Looks like Zachary's trying to come back at Antonio, but just overdrove turn 1 right there.
Yeah, very easy to do when everybody's already kind of on the ragged edge and very close on pace. If you just don't have anything left, then it's very easy to overdrive these cars and put yourself in a tricky position. As here comes Elliott Cotti flinging around that 23 machine. Looks like his push to pass is going to be on recharge. No, he's used it all up, so I'm curious to see, can Elliott best a 128.6 here, the final lap of the sprint?
He has 2 purple sectors in the final 2 sectors of this lap.
So he's looking good. Checkered flag is out. Elliott Cotti picks up the win. Sets the fastest lap of the race, a 128.52, the hat trick. Qualifies on pole, leads, I believe, every lap, and the fastest lap of the race. So well done to Cotti. Ray Aguilar finishing in second, and Nick Trollman will round out our top 3.
That fastest lap was only by 0.08 of a second, too. It looks like.
Yeah,
no.
Spot on.
Yeah.
Wait, no. Yes,
I don't know.
0.8.
Yeah, I was about to say it. My SDK reset on me at the last second. I was like, wait, that didn't make sense. So.
Yeah, Cotti at a 128.52, Aguilar a 128.6. They were, I'm looking at live timing here, they were over a second faster than anybody else out on the circuit here in that sprint.
Feature race.
Sprint.
Oh.
Yeah. I remember my first broadcast. So
I'll blame it on the power outage.
Yeah, we switched it up a couple seasons ago. It used to be feature followed by sprint. Now it's sprint followed by feature. I've got to say it's led to a little bit cleaner racing as well in the sprint, knowing that it affects the starting position for the feature. Looks like we've got Nick Trollman join us. We're still waiting on Elliott and Aguilar to make their way up to the booth. Looks like the gang is all here, so we're going to start things off with Mr. Nick Trollman joining us from the 3rd place spot. Nick, good to talk to you again.
Hello there. How's it going?
I'm well, Nick. Good to talk to you in the top 3. It's been too long, man. Walk me through what on earth we just witnessed in this sprint race.
Yeah, so I'm glad I got through lap 1. That was good. And then me and Jack tussled a little bit on I think it was lap 3 or 4, and I think it was just probably a racing incident. He's already reached out to me, so all was good there. I had some wheel and wing damage though, so I wasn't too optimistic, but I guess things kind of worked out. Was able to wheel her home.
Norman, what do you have for Mr. Trollman here?
So we were looking at this sprint race and noticed that Elliot and Ray had a pretty decent area on the speed on everyone. Do you think you have anything for them in the feature race, or are you just gonna try to settle in and hold on to another third place finish?
Probably a mixture of both of those things. I definitely feel like I have some more pace. This thing was rather unyieldy. It was really bad on the turn in, and just it was a handful to say the least, given the wheel damage and all that. But yeah, I mean, I've got some more pace, but I think consistency is key. So hopefully, just settle in and get another good result in the next race. We'll see what happens.
Well, Nick, we'll be cheering for you. I know there was a bunch of hooligans out there in the spectator area shouting your name from the stands as well. So before we let you go get ready for the feature, who do you want to give a shout out to that helps put you up here in that third place spot?
Well, shout out to League Zero for putting this on. Shout out to you guys for the broadcasting. Everyone out in J2I that's watching. And yeah, I guess that's probably it for now.
Awesome, Nick. Always a pleasure, buddy. Best of luck in the feature.
Thank you. Talk to you guys later.
That was Nick Trollman bringing it home. And third, up next, we've got Mr. Ray Aguilar, the number 1 machine. Ray, another clean sprint race, able to keep the carnage behind you, and another great points night as well.
Yeah, hoping to keep accruing points. I don't have my teammate tonight, so every point counts. And kind of hope I can just get through the feature in an uneventful way, because this track is either like your event is, you know, explosions and flipping cars, or it's nothing.
Ray, I got a question for you. What do you have for Elliot in the feature race, or do you have anything for him?
A good attitude is what I have. A can-do attitude. I think, honestly, I think we fell out of the toe early on. He's definitely got some pace on me. I'm looking in the middle sector now. Back at Mission Control, we're analyzing what I'm doing wrong in the middle sector. I think what I did, I was just telling him this actually. I think I was just pushing too hard before the tires got warmed up. We had that heat cycle in him early with the caution, and pushing too hard on him in the middle part of the middle sector, and kind of blowing a 0.3 gap on him every lap.
Yeah, notice there towards the end of your run, it looked like you just settled down and you were able to nail the fastest lap of the race with 2 laps to go before he took it back from you. So
Yep.
It shows like you have pace there. If you just settle down.
Yep.
Is that what you believe?
That's exactly what it's what the data says, and it's what my heart says too.
All right. Well, good luck in the next race, sir.
I appreciate you, Norman.
Ray, before I let you go, get ready for this feature event. Who do you want to give a shout out to that helps put you up in the second place position?
My teammate Jaden wasn't able to be here tonight. Team manager Fabian, and really everybody at TGS for putting on a good show. And Norman, I'm glad he's up here. I'm glad we got 2 people in the booth. I'm glad he's able to drink all the free soda and have a good time and contribute his knowledge to this type of broadcast, you know?
Very well said. Ray, always a pleasure, buddy. Best of luck in the feature.
Thanks. Love you guys.
Love you too, buddy. That was Ray Aguilar bringing it home. And second, up next, we've got Mr. Elliott join us, the number 23 machine. Elliott, the hat trick, qualified on pole, led every lap, and fastest lap of the race. You have to be extremely pleased with this one.
Yeah, my first win. Been coming for a while, but finally got it.
Well, Elliott, what was the trick coming into tonight? And you had a long time to kind of get your nerves under control with that pace car coming out early.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, the race was mainly just restarting on the pace car, but yeah, I did that well. Then the 2 behind me were battling, so I managed to get a gap, then won.
Elliot, I got a question. It looked like you kind of like held the field back there. Was that planned on the restart of after the safety car, or was it just?
Yeah, I've never actually done a safety car restart on iRacing, so I didn't really know what was going to happen. So I was sort of just like hanging back, trying to catch everyone out, and then yeah, I went, and it worked.
Yes, it did. You got a good jump there. Also with Ray there, he's only hundredths off your best lap. Do you have a threat from him, or do you think you can get out early and get that gap built back up?
Oh, I don't really know, like what his pace is in the race, but I was just trying not to bin it for about half the race. Then at the end, I was trying to push a bit more.
Well, it looked like it worked out well for you, Elliot. I'm excited to see what holds for the feature event. Any insight you can give us on what the tire strategy might be here tonight?
No idea. Wing it.
Well, excellent. Very helpful as always, Elliot. It's a pleasure talking to you, buddy. Before we let you get ready for the feature, who do you want to give a shout out to that helps put you up here in the top spot?
Oh, shout out to my teammate, Finley. First race as teammates. And as always, shout out to Salvador.
Always love Salvador. Elliot, always a pleasure, bud. Best of luck in the feature.
Cheers, thank you.
That was Elliot Cotti. Join us in the top spot. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with the League Zero Inca Salsa Super Formula Series feature event.
Do you want to improve at a quicker pace? Check out getgoodracing.com. I've coached hundreds of drivers from real-life racers to sim enthusiasts who experience rapid improvement after just one session. And while investing in top-notch hardware is great, imagine how much more you can elevate your experience by adding coaching to the mix. My methods are practical, aiming to break down complex concepts into easily digestible bits that are simple to understand. You can find reviews of the sessions I've conducted on the Fiverr link provided in the video description. Let's elevate your racing skills together.
Oh, Pearson gets into the 95 of Folks. Here comes the caution.
Flag is dropped here at Daytona, and away we go for the first time. Nicholas Morcel, Sean.
Looks like most get through unscathed. Look at that, there's Reed Gibson. A big move at the inside line of Dom's, possibly a little bit of contact.
Up now as we've got 3 wide action going through turns 1 and 2.
And they're underway. Eric Hahn takes a nice jump. Wilson hasn't let it go very far.
Let's go out here for Circuit Spa Francorchamps. Alex Johnson's off to a brilliant start there.
See just how oddly shaped this one is. We saw in the background Eric Hahn go for a bit of a swing, and he's gone and he's over.
Smooth stuff. Cody Graham's the 1-on-1 up into second place. Alex Johnson 6/10 lead at the moment.
They're dicey up front. There's Andrew Kessel, Justin Sang.
They are ready to go. The lights are out, and away we go for the very first time here at Autodromo International Circuit. Finley Fitzsimmons.
Welcome back, race fans, to the League Zero Inca Salsa Super Formula Series. Right now, our intermission is closing down, and we are getting ready to fire up the feature event. And for the rest of the broadcast, we will have the driver of the day option voted. You can scan that QR code in the middle left of your screen and vote for the favorite driver for this event. And you can see Peterson, Rettinger, and Leo Delmas. 1, 2, 3 there. That is going to be updated live as you scan your phone. Go over and get ready to vote for your favorite driver. Drivers are lining up here, and oh, we have it going on, Norman. I'm going to go ahead and scan this with my phone and submit my vote for driver of the day.
Are we allowed to vote?
yeah, we run the broadcast. Scanned it with my smartphone. It says time to vote. Voting ended. So somebody has broken something.
We'll just blame Nick for that.
Classic. So there goes that idea. We're gonna get that off the screen since apparently it doesn't work. Apologies to everybody who instantly pulled out their smartphones. I'm sure there's probably about 20 people just scanned that all in one go. But it looks like we've got everybody except for Fairchild, Fox, Duhair, and Deckard that are going to be starting here. Deckard doesn't even show out on track. I think the other three are going to start from pit road, and already somebody has ruined the start here. Oh, they were able to get through. I think that may have been Felipe Ramos. Absolutely botched the start, but
we got turn one still.
Yeah. That's Bianchi. I can't quite tell. Bianchi and Trollman got through side by side. I just saw Gareth McAllister reported with an incident at number 25. I think he was just hard on the binders. And look at this. Ray Aguilar already putting the pressure on Elliott here for the lead. He was side by side with the number 23 machine. Elliott's going to hold on to it up front, but we might have a race here in the feature. It doesn't look like Aguilar wants to let Elliott go here early on.
You know, like he said during the interview, he's got to get this middle sector down. And it looks like he's losing time right now through it.
Yeah, already 3/10 off the back of Elliott behind Aguilar. That is a busy field. You've got Brick, Bianchi, Fitzsimmons, Trollman, all here in the mix. Fitzsimmons grabs a spot from Bianchi. He's up 11 spots early in the number 16. Did not have the sprint that he was looking for, but looking to capitalize. Wants to get back up front and lend his support to his teammate Elliott. As Aguilar, I think, doing a better job staying with that number 23 in the opening laps.
Yeah, he looked like he was able to build that back coming into Parabolica. Now the question is, can he get the run down the front stretch?
Looks like he's going to stay tucked in. No, he might shoot for the inside here. I don't think he quite has it. I think he backs out slightly, but he's showing a wheel to Elliott. That's going to slow down the pace a little bit, and Elliott's teammate Fitzsimmons has already worked his way up into third. Fitzsimmons up 12 spots very early on within one lap. I'm curious if Fitzsimmons can hold the pace.
Oh, here comes Ray.
Yeah, he's going for it side by side for the lead. Aguilar backs out again.
Yeah, it just looks like he doesn't have as much confidence on the brake as Elliott does right now.
And the last thing, Aguilar is very championship oriented. He's not going to put that number 1 machine into the vortex of danger if he doesn't have to. But now he's got Fitzsimmons right behind, and I'm willing to bet quite a bit that Fitzsimmons is not going to show the same amount of reserve. I think as soon as Aguilar has the door open a little bit, Fitzsimmons is going to go for it.
I agree with you right there. And it looks like Ray's starting to watch the mirrors, and he's losing time to Elliott right now, which might be all Fitzsimmons trying to do is to distract Ray from battling for the lead.
Yeah, keep his momentum from moving forward. Every time two drivers start to duke it out a little bit here, it slows down the pace. And that is a big reason what allowed Fitzsimmons to catch back up rather quickly behind Conti and Aguilar. Fitzsimmons clicks off the fastest lap of the race so far, a 1:29, pulls up alongside Aguilar. It's going to be a big lunge on the brakes. There's contact between Fitzsimmons and Aguilar. Both drivers able to get through, but Fitzsimmons muscling his way up into second.
Yeah, I'm going to go back and watch that. Looks like Fitzsimmons just went too deep. I'm going to have to put 60% of that on him as trying to get in there. That reminds me of the Hamilton-Max incident through that same turn from a few years ago.
And it upset the car of Aguilar just enough to really kind of taking him a moment to pause, reset, and then make sure he's got the power back down. Right behind this battle, you've got Antonio Bianchi, Nick Trollman running 4th and 5th. Craig Brick also in frame in that number 7 machine. And I'm keeping an eye out. Peter Redinger had a rough sprint, but he's already climbed 5 positions up into 7th. Redger, I think if he can stay consistent here tonight, he's got a good chance of really gaining some ground. And we pan back. We've got a 3-car battle for 13th. Peterson, Mayorga, McAllister putting on a bit of a show there as Mayorga hops a bit of Kirby. We go back up front to Elliott Cotti. Fitzsimmons glued to the back of his teammate, but Aguilar using the draft off those 2 drivers just ahead and kind of keeping them within striking distance. Now, Norman, what would be your move here if you think the drivers in front of you have a little bit more pace? Is it just latch on to the pit cycle and go for an overcut, or what strategy options are available to Aguilar at this point?
I think Aguilar is going to try to see what these teammates are going to do. Fitzsimmons looks like he's antsy and wanting to get around Elliott, that he feels like he's faster. And if I'm Ray, I'm going to sit back and see if they pull a Ferrari and try to battle each other here. And then I'm going to take advantage of when they make their mistakes.
Fitzsimmons and Aguilar both triggering the off-track lights very briefly up here in the booth. Elliott has not been reported with any off-track so far, so not only is that 23 machine ridiculously fast, also ridiculously smooth. Looks like Evan Alexander is going to have an incident that results in a tow for the 77. Let's see what happens here. Is he going to be solo? Is he going to get a little bit of help from behind, I wonder? And it's a solo incident. Oh, that's rough. Alexander was doing the right thing, hopping out of the racing line, but just barely taps the wall, and that rips the wing off, resulting in Alexander having to retire from this event. Trollman and Bianchi side by side.
It looks like I'm getting from up front. It looks like Fitzsimmons is just gonna play team orders here and just ride behind him, but it looks like Ray is slowly reeling them back in. So I'm wondering what we're gonna see up here up front.
Yeah, I'm almost curious if Cotti and Fitzsimmons need to do a little bit of leapfrogging, I wonder, to keep that momentum going, because right now they're not going to be able to shake off Aguilar as they run nose to tail. Aguilar just kind of sitting it tucked in here, nice and clean.
And I wonder what Ray's getting from his team in orders right now. If they're just telling him to try to keep pressure on them to see if they can force the 2 guys in front of him into a mistake or try to get them on pit strategy.
Yeah, I think Aguilar's going to be working with the engineer here to try and figure something out, since his teammate, Jaden Calloway, was unable to get to the circuit this evening, leaving Aguilar in the number 1 machine without teammate. But, I mean, just it's the same sector, Norman, that Cotti and Fitzsimmons are able to pull a couple of tenths of a second. Aguilar closes it back up a little bit tighter on the brakes there, but I think he's losing time, and as he sits about a half second back, if they can break the draft and kick Aguilar out of the tow, it's going to be tough. But, I mean, Aguilar just set the fastest lap of the race as Fitzsimmons and Cotti go side by side, and they are going to do a little bit of leapfrog here.
Is that a leapfrog, or is that a team order that Fitzsimmons is faster right now and to try to at least just hold Ray off?
Yeah, I agree. The team's going to try and work out together who might be the faster driver here. It's going to give Fitzsimmons a shot at it. But that did not do the 2 teammates running first and second any favors of breaking the draft of Aguilar. They were about a half second ahead of that number 1 machine heading into turn 1 until they went side by side, punching a massive hole through the air. And it looks like Aguilar staying right off the rear wing of Fitzsimmons. I'd say he's a lot tighter here than he was the lap prior.
Yeah. Looks like what Elliott or Fitzsimmons is going to have to, whoever's leading, they're going to have to break the draft and get away in the lead to try to hold Ray off here. With that 2-car punching the hole in the air for Ray, he's just holding him right here in thing. Second place for them is going to have to try to let Ray battle him and let the leader get away, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. Right now, I don't think they can together break away from Aguilar. I think he's too squarely tucked in running almost identical pace, and I believe everybody's on the push to pass about equally. But now Elliott's going to take over for the next lap and put Fitzsimmons in that hot seat in second.
Looks like Ray had struggled through 1 and 2 right there. So, but they didn't get away from clean enough to separate from the draft.
Yeah, Aguilar's going to be able to stick there. Let's go a little bit further back. Nick Trollman in fourth, getting chased by Antonio Bianchi and Craig Brick, still linked up. Fourth, fifth, and sixth here at Monza. We had another crash reported resulting in a tow. It's going to be Matt Foster piloting the number 32 machine side by side with one of the Inca drivers. No, excuse me, that is Foster in the Inca machine. Gets bumped around, but then the car snaps loose. I wonder if he got just the car unsettled enough. And unfortunately, these super formulas do not bode well when it comes with hard contact.
No, they do not.
Up front, it's still Cotti, Fitzsimmons, Aguilar, 1, 2, 3. You've got Trollman and Bianchi. They've been able to shake off Craig Brick just slightly, who's on the push to pass, trying to close down that 1 second deficit. But Bianchi staying glued to the back of the Barney-esque number 5 of Trollman. But Bianchi pushes a little bit wide there, gets the car a little upset. That's going to allow Craig Brick to get a good run here at the start-finish line. And look at that. Elliott just set the fastest lap of the race with the leapfrog maneuver, and Fitzsimmons being very mindful not to tag the back of his teammates as they dive into turn 1. And that might have been a beautiful team move there, as Fitzsimmons was hard on the brake. Didn't look like it was on purpose, but he did slow down the pace rather quickly and has built up a 6/10 advantage in the favor of Elliott. I think that confirms that it wasn't on purpose, as Fitzsimmons was on the push to pass, as he's getting all sorts of pressure from Aguilar trying to block that number 1.
Yeah, they're not too late, but those are close to being late moves by Finley right there on Ray. He's got the run, and he pushes his car in front of him. And as a driver, I'm not a fan of drivers doing that to me.
So Aguilar, I think, is going to be losing a little bit of patience here. If he thinks he has the pace to match or better Fitzsimmons, I think he's going to be a little bit conservative on the push to pass, but try and keep things up, maybe force Fitzsimmons into a mistake, as he definitely does not want Elliott to get that big 2.5 breakaway. He wants to stay at least within drafting distance if he can get around Fitzsimmons. Let's see what the lap time show this time. By lap prior was a 1:29.41 for Elliott. It slows down to a 1:29.54, but he's still about a half second faster than the two drivers tucked in behind him. Antonio Bianchi in 5th sets his fastest lap of the race, but a mistake from Fitzsimmons. Oh, and Aguilar, it's just such a tight section of raceway, still can't get around the young British driver.
They're going to look to the outside going into the next chicane.
Oh, Aguilar up the inside here of Fitzsimmons. Side by side they go. Fitzsimmons yields the spot. Aguilar up into second, but just in that brief moment, that has given Cotti a 2.3 second advantage up in first.
Yeah, it looked like Fitzsimmons going into that chicane got a little loose under braking and had to give up the position.
So now we're going to see Aguilar in second place to number 1. He's got clean air ahead. He wants to get some momentum built up, but Fitzsimmons does not want to allow it. Takes a peek to the inside line. Not able to do anything with it, but Cotti is on the throttle here. Has built up a 2.4 second advantage. This is going to be interesting. We're about to find out if Aguilar has the pace to catch up to that number 23 machine, as he's kind of in no man's land here, 2.5 seconds back.
Yeah, I don't like the position for Ray right now. He has no help from the front, and Fitzsimmons has all the draft here down the front stretch.
Yeah, Fitzsimmons going to immediately throw it back here into turn 1 on the push to pass to help facilitate that one. This is the corner that Fitzsimmons had big issues the lap prior that really gave Elliott the 2.5 second advantage, but both second and third place drivers through nice and clean, and they actually closed the gap fairly quickly to Elliott. They gained about a half second through that one.
Yeah, Ray's going to have to trickily work with Finley here to try to help them try to reel in Elliott. but I don't.
That's a big ask, I think.
Yeah, as Finley, he just kind of needs to. Even if he finishes third, it's still a great team finish. 2 podiums for the team. He's got to play the team game right here and try to slow Ray down.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the call. We've got about 3 laps left to go before our halfway mark. And a reminder to the fans, drivers do have a mandatory tire stop in these Super Formula machines. They cannot refuel these machines, so they should have enough to make it till the end. But we do have that mandatory tire stop looming for these drivers. They cannot take the tires on the opening lap, and they cannot take tires on the final lap. But since we survived the opening 2 laps here at Monza, I'm not expecting to see a safety car deployed for this one. So it's going to really come down to driver strategy when they have to come down pit road, and that might be Aguilar's best chance to try and shake off Fitzsimmons.
Yeah, it's all about getting on pit road and getting off cleanly. I know a lot of people say that in oval racing, but it works right here in open wheel racing too.
Yeah, a lot of strategy is going to be in play. We've got a 3-car battle for 10th. Peterson, Fairchild, Iezzi. Peterson now up 14 spots in the number 24. David Iezzi is going to come down pit road for a bit of an undercut over the rest of the field. Shazi Zuhair has also came down pit road on lap 8. He is fairly common to see Zuhair with the undercut in these Super Formula machines, as Fairchild makes that track pass against Peterson.
I could be sticking my foot in my mouth right now. We'll see how the strategy plays out. I don't think you want to come down pit road alone. I think this is more like a restrictor plate oval race. I know that's a stretch, but it looks like you want the draft to be fast here tonight or today, and I would want to come down with people so I can stay in the draft. I don't know if I want clean air.
Now, I tend to agree with you, but what about the situation that Aguilar finds himself in, battling with a teammate of the race leader that may be impeding the pace a little bit? Would you think maybe Aguilar would be one of the few drivers who wants to come down pit road by himself? Or at least not with Fitzsimmons is what I should really be saying.
Yeah, but Fitzsimmons 2 laps ago just put the fastest lap of the race down. So he's still trying to run his teammate down, so I think you've got your engineer in your ear is going to be telling you that he's still fast. Just stick with him. You're gaining on the leader.
Yeah, I'll be curious to watch that interval that we see in the live timing or on the left side of the screen. Right now, Cotti's still holding about a 2-second advantage after Aguilar has moved up into second. I'm expecting Fitzsimmons to try and get back around Aguilar as quickly as he can. I don't think Fitzsimmons personally wants to see Aguilar tracking down his teammate, even if that brings Fitzsimmons closer to a race win here. I think they would rather have their cars first and third rather than another team finishing first. But I'm very interested. There's a lot of different strategies at play here tonight at Monza, and this could be really good. I'm looking forward to see the green flag pit cycle and seeing what these guys are coming up with behind the visors.
Yeah. As me personally, as an engineer, as Ray gets around Finley, I think if you want to pull that crazy strategy and pit, I would pit now and try to distract Finley, because now he wouldn't have the draft, and then maybe you can come out and pick up some back markers and try to get that lead on him, and then just have to worry about Elliott the rest of the race.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be a little bit of game of chess out here. I almost said chessers. That's not a real word or a real game.
We don't want chicken.
Yeah, no, we can't have that. So Aguilar has built up an 8/10 advantage over Fitzsimmons, but has actually lost about a 10th and a half that lap against your race leader, Elliott Cotti. Now, I see Matthew Balcells coming down pit road. Felipe Ramos has entered his pit stall. Eric Fox has rolled out of pit road. So the tire window definitely open for these drivers. And if I go back to 4th, we've got Trollman and Bianchi still linked up in that battle. They're about 8 seconds back from the top 3, but put on a good show here. And it looks like Craig Brick is still within striking distance of this battle as well.
Yeah, it just looks like no one has anything right now for each other. I don't know if they're playing the patience game, or if this is what each driver has for each other.
Yeah, everybody seems to be very equally matched on pace, and we haven't seen that many mistakes from these drivers once we got squarely into the run. Now, we have been showing the drivers the cross green and white flags here at Monza, signaling the halfway mark of today's feature event. We've seen a bunch of different tire strategies in the past. We've seen drivers with an aggressive undercut, as it looked like Aguilar was hinting at pit road, maybe trying to trick Fitzsimmons down the road.
He got me on it.
Now,
I was about to call him to pit road, and he dipped back out. I think he was really just trying to break the draft.
yeah, and so we've seen different strategies in the past. We've seen drivers come down pit road super early into the event to minimize the time they spend on cold tires. We've seen drivers box right at the halfway mark, and we've seen drivers wait until the very last moment to come down pit road. But Kazi continues to charge at a 2.3 second gap over everybody else in the field. And look at this, Norman. Kazi and Aguilar clicked off identical lap times last time by a 1 minute 29.92 for both first and second place drivers.
Yeah, and Finley was a little bit faster than both of them, and you can see that as Finley tries to come back, because it looks like he had a little wiggle there coming out of that last turn.
Yeah, Fitzsimmons at 105% here. I saw it briefly with an off track and then the car dancing around a little bit, but he's keeping it pointing the right direction, keeping right in the draft off of the gearbox of Aguilar and making sure that Aguilar can't break away here. I think Aguilar wants to be up in second. He wants to keep Fitzsimmons at bay, as I think that may be lap traffic behind them, I believe. Maybe Zachary Bowman, who was just rolling out of pit road.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
Right now, Norman, all but about 8 drivers have boxed already.
Yeah. I'm not the one getting paid to make the calls, but I would have brought Ray down pit road at least that lap.
Now, I wonder as well, Norman, if we see Aguilar coming down pit road, is it guaranteed to see Fitzsimmons follow, I wonder?
I think as the engineer in the paddock, you've got to call them late. You've got to tell them, come in late. Don't show your hand till the last minute.
So if you were the crew for Fitzsimmons and you saw Aguilar box, you would tell your driver to stay out.
No, if I was I would follow as Fitzsimmons' crew.
Oh, okay,
okay. Ray's crew's got to tell him the same thing. We think Finley's going to follow you. Pit as late as possible. Like, enter pit road as late as possible is what I'm trying to say.
Understood. So that way it doesn't give Fitzsimmons the opportunity to track him down or follow him into pit road.
That's right.
Gotcha, I'm understanding now. If I go back, I just saw Shazi Zuhair. A deep dive under braking is going to put Zuhair, such the nice Canadian, that number 10 machine, up into 11th. Aptly, that is his 11th spot gained here for the evening. Only 6 drivers have yet to box here, as Brian Dawson is in pit road for his one scheduled stop of the evening. Right now, if you're just tuning in, it's Elliot Cotti, your race leader. Ray Aguilar running second. Finley Fitzsimmons rounds out that final podium spot, up 12 positions. And Antonio Bianchi, Craig Brick round out the top 5, as here goes Fitzsimmons on the binders, working his way along the inside of Aguilar to take over the second place spot.
And they're slowly reeling in Elliott. It ain't fast, but it is a 10th here and a 10th there.
I wonder now, are we going to see Aguilar just keep rocking and rolling, and now he's going to try the overcut against Fitzsimmons if he thinks he has the pace, or the undercut at this point, just to not get tied up with Fitzsimmons. Fitzsimmons triggers the off track very slightly there, but still holds about a half second, making 0.6 over Aguilar. And man, these top 3 drivers far and away carrying such an incredible pace compared to anybody else out on the circuit.
Oh yeah, Antonio with his best lap is there, but he's not consistent enough to try to stick with these top 3.
Yeah, and these guys in the top 6 as well, they're going to be starting to face tire fall off with about 6 laps left to go. So the fact that they've been so consistent in the top 3, a testament to just how much talent these drivers have. Elliot Cotti, your race leader, is going to come down pit road. Fitzsimmons and Aguilar stay out. So the lead pack starting to come in. Let's see if Bianchi, Brick, and Peterson, the other 3 drivers yet to box, looks like they're going to stay out as well.
And that was an ambitious look from Ray. I didn't think he ever had a chance to go under Finley right there. But I wonder if he's just trying to get in his mirrors and say, hey, buddy, I am here and I am ready to attack.
Yeah, exactly. Keeping Fitzsimmons on the back foot a little bit and keeping him on the toes while he's on that foot as well. And I saw Fitzsimmons doing the very similar moves in the opening lap as well, even in a section where I don't think it was possible to make a lunge. He would at least pull out of the draft and maybe try and get the driver ahead of him thinking about it. But now, Aguilar with a big shimmy out of the number 1 machine. We saw that with Fitzsimmons, and that can be a problem that gets a little bit exponential in growth. If you put too much heat in the tires, makes it even tougher to hold on to, has the car wiggling around, which in turn builds up more heat. So these drivers have to be very mindful to take care of the tires in the remaining 9 or so laps here at Monza to avoid putting themselves in a bad spot before they need to come down pit road.
Yeah, it looks like Elliott, when he came back out on track, he's got a lot of clean. He's got about a second of clean track in front of him and no one pressuring him from behind, so that's good. And as we get Ray coming down pit road and Finley staying out.
Elliott's in a good spot here, knowing that everybody ahead of them is either on pit road or needs to come down pit road. Antonio Bianchi, Craig Brick coming down pit road. That's just going to leave Fitzsimmons and Peterson, I believe, who have yet to box. And Fitzsimmons is going to enjoy the clean air off the front wing of the number 16 machine. Fitzsimmons was already having a great night. He was up 12 positions before the pit cycle. Looks like Nick Peterson's going to come down pit road, so that's going to leave Fitzsimmons the only driver out on track who has yet to take the mandatory tires for these Super Formula machines. And he's currently showing about a 25.5-second advantage over his teammate Elliott, but Norman, it looks like a pit lane time about 33 seconds from the entry cones to the exit cones here at Monza.
Yes, it does. It's going to be interesting to see how close Ray and Finley come out. We'll see if Finley comes this time. It looks like Ray lost some time to Elliott on pit road.
Yeah, Aguilar was about 1.2 seconds slower than Elliott in his pit stall, so didn't quite hit the marks like he was looking for. And a second can be huge when these drivers are all battling for 10s or 100s already at this point. I'm curious, is Fitzsimmons going to come in this time by, or is he going to stay out another lap here? Looks like he's staying out. So a gutsy strategy from the young British driver of Fitzsimmons. He wants to minimize the time he spends on cold tires late into the race. Looks like Nick Trollman has moved up into 4th, edging out Antonio Bianchi, who's going to be relegated back to the 5th place position. And Trollman and Bianchi just need to run clean here. We've seen it time and again here at the League Zero Inca Salsa Super Formula Series, where somebody in the top 3 has a bit of a bobble or a rough night late in the race and ends up a dark horse that was maybe in the top 5 or just outside of it, can sneak their way into a podium here.
We're going to see here as I think Fitzsimmons' tires are starting to fall off here late in this run. I think he needs to come as soon as possible, or he's going to open the door for Ray here at the end of this race to take the second step on the podium.
Yeah, Elliott has been closing the gap, now down to about 24.6 seconds back from his teammate. Aguilar actually losing a little bit of time, I'm seeing. He's about 30 seconds back. Let's pan over to Aguilar here.
He had a big mistake.
Yeah, he is hemorrhaging time to the top 2.
Yeah, it looks like he must have had malfunction in the car, because coming through those last turns, he was not even on throttle.
Now that you mention that, we haven't heard from any drivers, but is there a chance that there might be some fuel saving involved?
I don't know. That did not look like fuel saving. It looks like he got on throttle and something went wrong. And then he got out of it, but it didn't like the car was upset. I don't know. We'll have to see what went wrong there.
Yeah, I mean, Aguilar was just about 3.5 seconds off the pace that time by, as Elliott just set the fastest lap of the race, a 128.84, so he's feeling good as the tires really come into their own here. Fitzsimmons a 129.42, and I'm surprised how long Fitzsimmons is staying out here. He is by far and away using up more of the tire than anybody else has, and you can see that number 16 machine pan back over to him. Really? No, Fitzsimmons throws it away. How's that for timing?
He didn't hit anything, so he can get it back on track, but
and the rejoin.
That's going to cost him major. I was fixing to say that Ray, he had the advantage over Ray with his issues that he had, but I think he just lost all that time, and I think Ray's going to sit here second on the podium, and now the question is, can Nick or Antonio challenge Fitzsimmons for the third step on the podium?
And Fitzsimmons almost lost the car there with that rejoin. So Fitzsimmons down pit road. That's going to put Cotty back into the race lead. But we pan over to Aguilar. I think Aguilar is going to have second by a country mile here.
Oh, yeah. The real question is, what does third look like now?
Fitzsimmons rolling back out on track as Aguilar sets his fastest lap of the race. Where is Nick Trollman?
I don't think he's going to have it, but on cold tires, can he run him down and get in the draft and pressure him into another mistake?
Yeah, and Trollman has a freight train of drivers behind him to help him with the draft. He's got Bianchi and Brick tucked in as well, and now these three drivers, 4th, 5th, and 6th, they can see the carrot dangling.
Antonio got loose out of the turn 1 and turn 2, so he's going to lose time to Trollman.
So Fitzsimmons now in salvaging mode with about 5 laps left of this feature event. Cannot afford another mistake, or he might find himself battling with 3 other drivers rounding out 4th through 6th. I just saw briefly another off track for Fitzsimmons. Has to get his head underneath him here and not let the red mist take over, because Trollman's going to be closing fast as he sits in 4th in that number 5. What is Fitzsimmons doing?
I have no earthly idea.
A bit of a wiggle, a bit of a shimmy. I wonder if that was a mental exercise of Fitzsimmons getting his head back in the game.
It looks like now he's trying to get some heat in the tires. He might have just came out and pushed too hard on cold tires.
Yeah, it's either that or he has given up a little bit here. This is odd.
He's not losing a lot of time to Trollman right now. I think it's cold tires got him, and he tried to push too hard because I do it as a driver sometimes, making a mistake and come out and just try to gain all the time I've lost back, and you can't do that. You've got to let it go and just focus in on what you can do.
Yeah, you might be jam on here because Fitzsimmons has now extended it to 2.5 seconds back in his favor, as Trollman and Bianchi going to have a battle for 4th. Greg Brick still in this freight train of talent as well, but the laps rapidly dwindling. So I'm wondering, at what point are we going to see the 4th, 5th, and 6th place drivers stop being a little bit so polite to each other and start battling for position here?
Yeah, or are they not being polite as they don't have anything for each other?
Yeah, Trollman and Bianchi have stayed linked up nose to tail. Brick will fall off every now and then close the gap. But it is very intense racing as Bianchi and Trollman try and pull up alongside each other. Up front, Elliott Cotty, your race leader, clicks off the fastest lap of the race, a 128.778 for that number 23 machine. Looks like Fitzsimmons has collected himself here and pulled it back to 3.2 seconds in his favor. You were spot on. That was a bit of a mental and tire reset for Fitzsimmons.
As Antonio goes for 4th place right here.
Oh, Trollman.
I like the move by Antonio to come out of the draft in Parabolica, not to gain too much time, and then get the draft all the way down the front stretch on Trollman. That is a smart racing move right there by Antonio Bianchi.
Now, we had 2 drivers take a tow. One was Xavier Zanave, who looked like something odd had happened. He must have had some sort of suspension damage as the car is kind of crab walking, and he's going to take a tow. Matthew Balsales also has an incident in the number 52 machine that resulted in a tow. Matthew doesn't have a rear wing right now. So that explains the slide out. Oh, and I'm not sure who got
clipped him.
I think that was Arturo Mayorga. Let's see, I think this is Mayorga. On board with Mayorga. Oh, my goodness. But
He'll be
thankfully,
checking his pants after that one.
yeah, checking the bodywork, too, to make sure everything's still there. But Bianchi doing a good job holding on to the 4th. The top 3, Conti, Aguilar, Fitzsimmons. A bit spread out at this point. Fitzsimmons clicks off the fastest lap of the race on 128.758. I appreciate the enthusiasm for the number 16 machine, but I would heavily advise if I was his crew chief saying, hey, let's calm down. Let's get here to the end. Not to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory, as now Rettinger and Fairchild are going to have a battle for 8th side by side.
And it looks like for 4th, 5th, and 6th have all tightened back up here too.
Every time we pan the camera, there's great racing to be found here. The League Zero Inca Salsa Super Formula Series. We go back up to that 3-car battle for 4th. Bianchi, Trollman, Brick all have about 4 tenths between each other. And everybody kind of extending the track surface there a little bit.
As they'll be coming to 2 to go this time by also. So we should start seeing them get a little bit more impatient with each other.
Yeah, the laps will dwindle as well as the patience from all of these drivers, as they will realize they will not have many more opportunities to make a big move and then defend it afterwards. Elliot Cotti, your race leader, crosses the line, so we get ready to unfurl the white flag here at Monza. Very impressed with these 4th through 6th place drivers. They've been so equally matched, trying to break the draft off of each other and just not having any luck with it. Roman actually closing the gap to Bianchi. He was able to stay tucked in on that number 17 machine as Bianchi was hugging the pit wall, trying to do whatever he can to shake off the drivers behind. Bianchi gets a little bit of better drive out of the chicane there, and now he's going to have about a half-second advantage over Trollman and Brick.
Yeah. I've noticed the past few laps, they've all been struggling to get out of that chicane. I think they all backed it up a little, giving Antonio the advantage on the exit.
Yeah, and that seems to be very important in a huge section of the raceway where your corner exit speed is going to really add up towards the end of the run there. It's such an important part of the track to absolutely nail. As I just see somebody crashing in the background. That's Jack Mundy, finds himself in a precarious spot. Gets it pointing the right direction. Thankfully, he had a big enough margin where there was no drivers coming up behind, but Mundy was driving the wheels off that 14 machine. He could see Bianchi, Trollman, and Brick 1.5 seconds ahead, but now, Norman, the white flag is out here at Monza, and Elliot Cotti a 9.3 second advantage over the rest of the field.
Yeah, without a driver mistake, it looks like the podium is set for this race, but we have 4th, 5th, and 6th still to be decided.
And Fitzsimmons, again, the fastest lap of the race, a 128.399. Obviously has the pace, but his first race back in a while. Fitzsimmons has the dial in the consistency, but if this is the pace we're going to see from the top 5, top 6 drivers for the rest of the season, it is going to be anybody's game with this championship. I think it's going to really be, I know it's very early in the season, only 2 rounds in, but I'm thinking this is going to be a championship based off consistency.
Yes, it's not about how many wins you can get. It's about how many top 5s you can get this year.
Yeah, I'm in a full agreement on that one.
You know, can you keep a clean car and can you just get points? Get as many points as possible, because anything is possible so far this season. And it looks like Antonio's opened that gap up here coming into the last straightaway.
I'm watching, and there we go. The checkered flag taken by Mr. Elliott Cotti. Back-to-back wins here the second round of the season. Ray Aguilar will get second. Finley Fitzsimmons will round out the top three. And it looks like Bianchi is going to hold on to fourth here with Nick Trollman rounding out the top five.
And you got Brick coming in sixth, as here comes Mundy to take seventh. Looks like Fairchild will not pressure him for that position. As it'll be, after that, it'll be Fairchild and Rettinger. And then Decker in your top 10.
Good racing all across the circuit here. We're going to try and get these top drivers up here to victory lane. I can't quite find Ray Aguilar yet. We're waiting on him before we can get this party started. But we're going to get things started with Mr. Finley Fitzsimmons, the number 16 machine, bringing it home in third, up 12 spots. But Finley, what a roller coaster of a night for you.
Yeah, the first race didn't go great. Same sort of thing happened, really. I was just pushing too hard to compensate for my lack of consistency, really, because I didn't do much practice coming into the event, or I feel like I could have done a little bit more. But yeah, it was the same in the race. The main race, we had a really good lap one where we made up like 12 spots or something like that, and we were right on the back of the leaders. But we just started to cook the rear tyres, and I thought the strategy was going into the race that the tyres wouldn't drop off too much. I thought it would just get a little bit loose, but normally these tyres stay pretty hard and it's not much of an issue. However, I saw Elliott was putting in the quicker lap times, and I knew I made a mistake, and I tried to push a little bit too hard on my hot tyres to compensate for it, and then we had a little bit of a spin. So that's why we ended up quite far back. It was quite close on the fuel as well, actually. But no, definitely not an optimised race for sure. We could have done things better.
Will Finley, after that race, are you going to be able to carry some confidence and forget about the spin into the next race and try to challenge for a victory next week?
Yeah, I think the track was quite hot today. Normally, I'm quite good at protecting the rears, but today I just couldn't do it. I'm not sure what it was, but yeah, Raymond and Elliot were quite good at protecting the tyres. I think they did a better job than me, so I think I'll do a better job coming into next week. We'll learn from our mistakes. Yeah, we'll do our best.
Well, Finley, it looked like your updated profile picture aptly fit the mood after that big spin, but good to have you back up here in the top three. And before I let you go unwind from this one, who do you want to give a shout to that helps put you up in victory lane with that third place spot?
I'd like to give a massive thank you because on Sunday my granddad passed away, and I wanted to get the win, but unfortunately we couldn't do that because of my own issues. But yeah, he passed away for pneumonia on Sunday night, which isn't great. On the other hand, though, Elliott coming home with the win. Brilliant job from him. Raymond drove a solid race as well. I think he's doing a bit of fuel saving towards the end because it did get very tight on the field, as I previously mentioned. But great thanks to you guys in the Ball Press booth, James and Norman and Antonio and the rest of the guys for the league.
Well, Finley, you're always in our thoughts, buddy, and congratulations on third.
Thank you very much, James.
Sure.
See you too.
That was Finley Fitzsimmons bringing it home in the third place spot. Up next, we've got Mr. Ray Aguilar, the number one machine. Ray, welcome back. We talked about consistency, and it seemed like you had it here tonight.
Yeah, I would think I was just consistently a tenth or two off, which would have been great. Would have held the toe, or if I would have held the toe, that would have been fantastic. But yeah, banging back and forth with Finley kind of slowed me up a bit, and then I don't know, but midway through the race, there was enough of a gap where I kind of figured, all right, I don't think I have this.
I got a question for you, Ray. It looked like on lap 19 through turns, I think it was 6 and 7, you had a little hiccup there. Can you walk us through what happened there?
Yeah, so I was actually just looking at that. I ended up on, at least on 6, I think I ended up just getting off into the weeds a bit. The tires were starting to go around then. What lap did we come in on? We came in on 16. So yeah, I was still on cold tires at that point. So
Okay.
I don't know. I think I could have ended up. That's actually probably you're butting up right against the sort of problem I had with this race tonight. Is every time I would push, it was the wrong time to do it. The times I had grip, I wasn't pushing enough, and the times I didn't have grip, I was pushing too hard. And you see what you saw.
Yeah, I was trying to sit up here in the booth and calculate. Was that it didn't look like you wiggled too much. I didn't know if you had a technical difficulty with the car right through there or not.
Yeah, no, I actually was getting some frame spikes the whole time, so I'm not sure what's going on there. I have to check with the technicians on that one.
Well, hey, Ray, always a good time having you up here. Championship-minded, sporting that number 1 plate. Before I let you go and unwind from a long race here at Monza, who do you want to give a shout to that helped you secure back-to-back podiums here tonight?
I want to thank my boy Murph for really kind of helping me prep for this whole thing. Jaden for helping me practice and prep for this whole thing. And I want to thank Elliot, man. He got his first win, and he did it in style tonight. I think he got all the fast laps. He cleaned out pole. He won both races. He was killing it tonight. We knew that guy was going to be dangerous, and it turns out he is.
Awesome. Ray, always a pleasure, bud, and hope to have you back up here next week.
I love you guys so much.
We love you too, buddy. That was Ray Aguilar bringing it home in second, but up next, the man, the myth, the legend, Elliot Cotti, making it back-to-back in the 23 machine. Man, what a night for you.
Yeah, I mean, first 2 wins, both come in the same night.
Yeah, we've got to run at Monza more often, but Elliot, I mean, walk us through the emotion, the thought process. Did you think this was going to be a snowball's chance happening here tonight?
I mean, I saw that Jaden Calloway wasn't racing, so I was like, yeah, I've got a chance finally. Then off the start, I saw Ray going up the inside. And I was like, do I battle him? Do I back off a bit? Wait for the slipstream? I was chose to send it and held on.
Yeah, Elliot, this is looks like it's gonna bump you up into the points lead after 2 wins. Are you gonna be able to carry this momentum into next week and try to hold on to this points lead going through next weekend?
Hopefully. It's about consistency here, because I need to actually be able to attend most of the races, which is difficult because it's about 3 a.m. But also about not crashing as well was important in the championships, keeping it consistently, the points coming in.
Elliot, super cool to have you up here back-to-back for the first time in your League Zero Super Formula career. And tonight, my friend, the first time, you've got the privilege, the pleasure, the final send-offs of the night. Who do you want to give a shout to that helped make it happen here?
Oh, the same people I said in the sprint. Teammate Finley did a great job working together at the start of the leapfrog. Then obviously the man himself, Salvador, gets a shout out.
Awesome. Elliot, always a pleasure, bud. Congratulations again, and hopefully we have you back up here next week as well.
Yeah, cheers. Thank you.
Well, sir. Well, Ray, not Ray, Norman, that was Elliot Cotti in the top spot. Back-to-back wins. Ray Aguilar, back-to-back seconds. And Fitzsimmons, his first podium of the season. What more can he ask for a race here at Monza?
Not much more. We had carnage and clean racing all in the same night. That's all we can ask for, and a fun evening to watch racing.
Norman, thank you for having us, being up here in the booth with us. It was a pleasure having you on behalf of the League Zero Racing Series. Inca Salsa with Get Good Racing and MSR Performance. Thank you all so much to the fans, friends, and family. Tune in, supporting the show, supporting the drivers, and supporting the league. We'll see you next Thursday night. Have a great night, everybody.